Hey guys, tonight we're entering the peaceful, measured world of ancient Chinese tea masters. No rush. No modern distractions. Just you, a cup of tea, and the quiet traditions of tea rituals that have been perfected over centuries. But don't get too comfy, because while tea might seem like a simple, calming drink, the history behind it is far more intentional, slow, and perhaps a little quieter than you're used to. And let's be honest, if you're anything like most people, you probably won't survive this episode without at least taking a deep breath and thinking about that first cup of warm tea waiting for you. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Also, drop a comment and let me know where you're listening from, and what time it is. I love hearing about where my listeners are from as we drift together through history. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Imagine you're stepping into a modest tea house in ancient China. The air smells of warm steam and freshly ground leaves. The atmosphere is hushed, almost sacred, and the only sounds are the soft click of teacups, the gentle steam rising from the kettle, and the calm movements of the tea master, who's preparing everything with deliberate care. Historians still argue whether tea's origins in China were born from practicality or an inherent desire for ritual, but the consensus is clear: tea was always more than just a drink. It was a ceremony, one that required patience, mindfulness, and respect. Tea wasn't made in haste, it was brewed with intention, steeped with meaning, and served slowly to allow the drinker to experience every facet of its flavor and fragrance. As you step deeper into the tea house, you watch the tea master at work. Every gesture is deliberate. The movements are fluid, almost meditative. The tea leaves are carefully measured, the water brought to the perfect temperature, and the steeping time precise. Nothing is rushed. No one speaks unnecessarily. The air is thick with the sense of purpose. This is not just making tea, it's creating an experience, one that aims to calm the body and soothe the mind. Historians still argue whether this slow, deliberate brewing process was truly about the tea itself or about fostering a state of inner peace through the ritual. But one thing is for sure, the tea masters of ancient China understood that ritual, mindfulness, and patience could transform a simple cup of tea into a calming experience that stretched far beyond the taste. You sit quietly in the corner, watching as the tea master prepares the pot. The kettle whistles gently, steam rising in the dim light of the room. With a practiced hand, the tea master pours the hot water into the pot, watching the tea leaves swirl, slowly unfurling. You don't speak. There's no need. The room itself asks for silence. And as you wait for the tea to steep, you begin to understand, this quiet act, this waiting, this stillness, is the whole point. So tonight, if your dreams are full of soft tea bags gently bobbing in warm water, and the faintest clink of porcelain cups, don't be surprised. You're simply drifting deeper into the ritual. You breathe in the quiet air of the tea house, the faintest trace of warm tea filling your senses. The tea master is still working, each movement so fluid that it's almost as if the entire process were choreographed. The water is poured just so, the leaves are added with a practiced hand, and the lid of the teapot is placed carefully with the kind of precision that only years of practice can achieve. As you watch, you begin to notice something: the tea master isn't rushing. There's no hurry to the process. No sense of impatience, even as the world outside moves at its usual frenetic pace. It's just the master, the tea, and the space in between. The whole experience is about slowing down, about paying attention to the small details that make the tea more than just a drink. Historians still argue whether the elaborate tea ceremonies practiced by Chinese tea masters were originally part of a meditative tradition or just an extension of the elite's love for ritual. But what is undeniable is the way in which tea became an integral part of the meditative and philosophical practices of the time. Tea wasn't just for refreshment. It was a moment. A still point in a spinning world. The tea master, having carefully prepared the pot, now sits silently beside you. The teacup is passed. There's no need for words. The silence between the two of you holds a deeper meaning than any conversation could. The first sip comes slowly, and the warmth spreads through you, gentle and measured. The tea isn't sharp or overpowering, it's just perfect. The flavors bloom slowly on your tongue, earthy, floral, a hint of sweetness, and the world outside feels far away. You close your eyes, the tea's warmth spreading through your body, and you understand what the tea master has known all along: the purpose of tea isn't just to drink. It's to experience it. To let the process of brewing, steeping, waiting, and sipping be its own reward. There's no rush here. There's no goal except to enjoy the tea in its purest form. And as you sit there, sipping your tea slowly, the world outside the tea house seems to fade. The chatter, the bustle, the rushing pace of life, they all fall away, like leaves in the wind. All that's left is the tea, and the quiet. Historians often note how the Chinese tea ceremony became synonymous with serenity, with the art of finding peace in the simplest of things. The act of preparing tea became an art, a way to create stillness in a world that was often anything but. In many ways, it was less about the tea itself and more about the intentionality behind the action. You take another sip, the cup gently warming your hands. The heat of the tea feels like a soft embrace, a moment of peace in the chaos. And as you set the cup back down, you realize, this is enough. In a world that's often too loud, too fast, and too demanding, a quiet moment like this one, this ritual, is a small but powerful act of rebellion against the rush. Tonight, if your dreams fill with the quiet click of teacups being set down, the soft, gentle sound of tea being poured, and the calm that comes from being completely present in the moment, let them. You're simply drinking in the stillness. You sit in the stillness, letting the warmth of the tea seep deeper into your bones. The tea house, now fully quiet, feels as though time has slowed down even further. The ambient sounds, of the kettle, of the soft clink of porcelain, the gentle rustling of tea leaves, are no longer intrusive. They're comfortable. Soothing. A reminder that there's nothing that needs fixing, nothing to rush toward. The tea master, ever so composed, gestures to the other side of the room where a small wooden box sits, a tea caddy, intricately carved and worn with use. You understand now that tea preparation isn't simply about the leaves. It's about everything, the tools, the space, the intention. Each piece has its own rhythm, its own role to play in this quiet symphony. The caddy, like the kettle and teapot, is just as important in completing the experience. Historians still argue whether the art of tea was always an exclusive practice among the elite or if it was something shared among all levels of society. Regardless, what became clear over time was that the ritual of tea was one of refinement, meant to slow the world down, one cup at a time. The very act of sipping tea, much like the brewing process itself, was meant to be savored and appreciated. This wasn't just a drink, it was a chance to reset. The tea master opens the caddy and takes a small amount of tea, which he expertly measures into the teapot. You watch closely as he adds the water, letting the steam rise for just a moment, and then waits. The pause is deliberate. Everything about this ritual is about waiting. About giving time for the tea to be more than just a beverage. The silence between each step, each decision, is part of the process, too. You think of how much the world has changed since those early days of tea masters, where every movement was deliberate and methodical, and wonder whether that careful pause, just that extra moment of nothing, is something we've lost. In the rush of life, how often do we actually give ourselves the gift of waiting? Of slowing down long enough to allow something, anything, to happen? The steam rises again, and the tea is ready. You sip once more, this time allowing the flavors to unfold with even more patience. The richness is deeper, the subtle floral notes more pronounced. You can feel the warmth spreading from your hands to your chest. Historians still argue whether the slow tea rituals of ancient China were the result of deep philosophical beliefs or simply the slow rhythms of a simpler life. Either way, tea has become more than just a drink. It has become a practice of quiet, one that allows space for clarity, mindfulness, and calm. You sit back again, cradling your cup, and listen to the silence that has settled over the tea house. It's not empty. It's full, actually. Full of potential, of quiet thought, of understanding that peace can be found in the simplest of rituals. There's a gentle satisfaction in knowing that for this moment, nothing else matters. There's nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to do. So tonight, if your dreams are full of soft steam, the gentle stirring of tea, and the peaceful silence that comes with doing something deliberately, let them come. You're simply sitting with the quiet now. And that's all you need. The silence around you thickens, not in a way that makes you uncomfortable, but in a way that lets you breathe a little deeper, almost as if it's encouraging you to stay still. The tea master is quiet, but his presence speaks in a language of practiced calm. You watch his fingers as he holds the teacup, feeling the temperature with the gentlest of touches, as if the cup is a precious thing that can't be hurried even for a moment. His movements are so slow, so deliberate, it almost feels like he's part of the room, woven into its stillness. You try not to blink. The air seems to be stretching. Each breath becomes more in tune with the space around you. The flickering candlelight is your only companion now, casting elongated shadows on the walls, shifting and swaying as if it, too, is a part of this meditative ritual. There's no rush. There's only the slow unfolding of time, which is itself a gift. Historians still debate the origins of the tea master. Was the role born out of religious rituals, or did it evolve from a practical need? Was tea always a part of daily life, or was it at one point reserved solely for the elite? One thing we do know is that the tea master didn't just brew tea, they embodied the calm that tea was meant to inspire. They became the stillness that tea offered to the world. The tea master, sensing that the moment is ripe, begins the next step of the process, the pour. Slowly, carefully, he tilts the teapot and lets the liquid fall into the teacup. The stream of water is steady, almost hypnotic. The tea master's eyes follow the tea as it fills the cup, and his fingers never rush. There's no chatter, no hurried movement. Just the motion of water, of tea, of time passing without urgency. You notice something about the way he holds the teapot, his fingers barely touch the handle, guiding it with such delicate precision. It's almost as if he's guiding a moment itself, moving it from one state to another. A little more tea poured, a little more pause taken. For a brief moment, you close your eyes, not because you're tired, but because this quiet is something you want to feel. And in the absence of noise, you begin to notice how much the sound of tea being poured into porcelain, the soft bubbling of the liquid against the sides of the cup, becomes its own form of music. Not loud. Not showy. Just present. As present as the tea itself. You sip your own cup, this time with a slow exhale, letting the warmth fill your mouth, spreading deeper with each breath. The flavor lingers longer now, richer with the patience of the process. You find yourself savoring not just the tea, but the stillness that surrounded it, the space that made it possible to truly appreciate. You're no longer thinking about time, or the day, or what's next. It's as if the moment itself has expanded to fill all the available space. Nothing is pressing, nothing needs attention. There's no rush here. Historians still argue whether tea, as it spread across the world, began to lose some of its meaning. Did tea's purpose evolve from a meditative, sacred act to just another beverage, consumed on the go? The irony, of course, is that in its rush to become a daily necessity, it may have lost the slowness that gave it its deepest meaning. You rest your hands on your cup, feeling the warmth against your skin, and for the first time in a while, you realize that this is enough. No pressure. No distractions. Just tea, just the tea master, just this shared stillness. Tonight, if your dreams find you in a room that is neither too quiet nor too loud, where the air itself is thick with calm, and every movement is measured, just let yourself be there. You're not looking for more. You're simply embracing less. The tea rests in your cup, and you feel your body relax into the rhythm of it all. The air around you is cool now, with just the slightest hint of crispness as the evening settles in. The fire crackles low, the flickering shadows dancing in sync with the movement of the flames. Everything here feels intentional. Not hurried. Not forced. It's like time has stretched itself thin, wrapping around you like a warm blanket. The world outside might be bustling, but here, inside the tea house, there's nothing but stillness. You lean back into your seat, your hands cradling the warm cup, and feel a profound sense of calm. The tea, now steeped to perfection, is no longer just a drink. It has become a companion in this moment of peace. You close your eyes for just a second, letting the world outside fade, just for a while, and the only thing you're aware of is the tea, its warmth, its taste, the way it connects you to this very space, this very time. Historians still argue whether tea, as it became more popular, retained the meditative quality it once had. When it was first introduced, tea wasn't just a drink, it was a ritual, an event that required time, patience, and presence. In the early days, the preparation of tea itself was as much a part of the experience as the drinking of it. The tea master didn't simply make tea, they crafted a moment, a space of meditation that allowed the tea to be appreciated in all its forms. You glance at the tea master, whose hands have begun to steady themselves once more. He looks at you, his eyes almost inviting you to continue the silence with him, to take part in this ritual of calm. You feel the weight of his presence, not as an imposition, but as a guide, offering you the space to simply exist within the moment. He moves slowly to the side, reaching for another tool. It's a small, ceramic pot, simple, unadorned, and he fills it with hot water. There's something soothing in the way he pours. No spills. No sudden movements. Everything is quiet, and yet full of purpose. You take another sip. This time, it's different. This time, you notice the way the tea sits on your tongue, how the flavors unfold with each moment. There's no rush. You savor it slowly, letting it linger, allowing the flavors to deepen. The world outside is far away. The hustle and bustle of modern life, with its noise and demands, seems like a distant memory. You think about how this process, this tea ritual, has been practiced for centuries. How it has endured, passed down through generations. Tea isn't just a drink, it's a way of life. It's about creating space, about inviting stillness into the chaos. And in that stillness, you find everything you need. Not in the rush of the world. Not in the noise. But in the quiet. So tonight, as your dreams wrap themselves around you like a soft woolen blanket, imagine that you are still in this room, the teapot in your hand, the world held in a perfect pause. Because sometimes, the greatest ritual of all isn't in the noise of life. It's in the stillness we make space for. The night deepens around you, and the once bright embers of the fire have settled into a soft glow. The tea house remains still, undisturbed, peaceful. You sit back, letting the warmth of the tea seep deeper into your bones, your mind stretching out into the quietness of this space. The world outside seems to have become irrelevant, its concerns reduced to whispers, faded into the night. All that matters now is the slow rhythm of the present, the quiet of it all. The tea master has finished his task, his movements measured, deliberate, and slow. He stands for a moment, eyes closing as he inhales the fragrance of the tea, allowing himself a brief moment of stillness before he places the teapot aside. There's something incredibly soothing about his routine. It's not perfection he's after, it's the quiet acceptance of each step. Every movement, every pour, every small decision is made with intention. There's no rush. No hurry. Just the patient process of tea. Historians still debate the role of tea in ancient Chinese society. Was it only a drink for the elite, a luxury to be savored in private chambers? Or was it a communal practice, one that brought people together? Some say it was both. Tea, in ancient China, was never just about nourishment, it was about creating a shared moment of presence, of being together without the need for words. You think about that for a moment. The world we live in now, where everything moves so quickly, where we're constantly distracted by screens and deadlines. And here, in this tea house, there's none of that. There's no rush to do anything other than simply be. To be present in the moment. To sit with the warmth of the tea, the silence of the room, the flickering light of the candle. This is the kind of space where you can finally breathe, without any expectations. No noise. Just peace. You take another sip of tea, the warm liquid filling your mouth and throat with the taste of something ancient, something timeless. There's a kind of gentle magic in the simplicity of it. The tea master, still standing in the corner, seems to be waiting for you to finish, to take your time. He doesn't rush. His job is not just to serve the tea, but to invite you into the ritual, the stillness. The cup is nearly empty now. The last sip is slow, lingering, like the final moment of a long, peaceful day. You set the cup down on the table, your fingers brushing the porcelain, and for the briefest moment, you feel the weight of the tea ritual settle around you like an old friend who has been waiting patiently for your attention. So tonight, if your dreams take you into a room full of soft steam, delicate teacups, and the gentle click of porcelain on wood, let yourself drift in. Don't rush. There's no need to go anywhere tonight. You've already arrived. You rise slowly from your seat, your muscles stiff from the comfort of the stillness, but your mind is clear. The quiet of the tea house, the delicate steps of the tea master, and the warmth of the tea have woven themselves into you, and you feel lighter, as though you've just woken from a long, untroubled rest. The fire flickers gently in the corner, and the last of the tea leaves have settled, leaving only the memory of their fragrance hanging in the air. Outside, the world seems to have shifted, but the tea house remains untouched, suspended in a moment of peace. You walk toward the door, the soft shuffling of your feet muffled by the thick carpet, and you pause in the doorway, looking out into the night. The stars above are clear, distant, like pinpricks of light that have been watching over this place for as long as tea has been brewed. You step outside, feeling the cool night air against your skin, the stillness of the world outside settling in around you. The peace you found inside lingers, wrapping around you like the warmth of a heavy cloak. The quiet of the tea house seems to have followed you into the night, an invisible presence that remains even as the world continues around you. Historians often comment on how tea, as it spread across China, became not just a drink but a ritual of stillness. While tea was once seen as a luxury reserved for the elite, it gradually found its way into homes, becoming something accessible to all. But the core of the ritual, its ability to create a moment of calm, never changed. Even when tea moved from the hands of the few to the many, it remained a practice of pause. You walk a little further, finding a quiet bench beneath a tall tree. You sit, feeling the coolness of the stone beneath you, and the quiet of the night washes over you. The world around you is alive, distant sounds, rustling leaves, but here, it's all still. There's no need for anything more. You're present in the moment. You close your eyes for just a moment, letting the soft breeze kiss your skin, the rustling of the leaves above you, and the steady pulse of the world as it continues on. The tea, the ritual, the peace, it's all part of this larger world of quiet. Tonight, if your dreams find you under the stars, cradling a delicate teacup in your hands, sipping slowly, and listening to the stillness, let yourself drift into it. There's no rush. No pressure. Just the tea, the night, and the moment. You've already arrived. The night feels even deeper now, the moon hanging overhead like a quiet sentinel, its soft light washing across the earth below. The sounds of the night, crickets, distant animal calls, seem to be part of the ritual now, the natural soundtrack to the peace you found in the tea house and beyond. You've stepped out of that world, yes, but it's still with you, lingering, like the taste of tea on your tongue. You sit on the stone bench, your back leaning gently against the cool bark of a tree, and for a moment, the rest of the world feels far away. The noises of the day, chatter, rushing, the hum of activity, have melted into the background. Here, beneath the open sky, everything is stretched out, soft and slow. You close your eyes for a moment, just listening. The rustling of leaves overhead is faint but constant, like the sound of someone carefully flipping through a well-loved book. The air is cool, almost crisp, but it's not uncomfortable. It's refreshing, and you breathe deeply, feeling the freshness fill your lungs, grounding you further in the stillness. This is what the tea master understood. It wasn't about perfect tea or even the most refined ritual. It was about creating a space, a pause. A moment to rest, to slow down, to let go of the chaos of the day. And somehow, in this quiet corner of the world, it feels like you've stepped into that very space. A space that doesn't rush, doesn't demand. The cool air carries with it a sense of continuity, a reminder that some things don't need to change. The earth turns. The seasons shift. But moments like this, they don't need to be altered or sped up. They simply exist. And in that simplicity, there is peace. Historians still wonder how tea, once a rare and treasured commodity, became such an integral part of daily life in China, and then later, in the world. Some say it was the quiet, repetitive process of brewing that made it so attractive. Others claim it was the sense of ritual that drew people in, that gave tea its timeless appeal. Whatever the reason, it wasn't just about the drink. It was about what it allowed, the time to reflect, to pause, to be. You reach into your pocket and pull out a small piece of paper, scraps of a life once lived, a letter you meant to send. You unfold it slowly, running your finger over the lines, reading words written long ago. The paper has softened with age, and the ink is slightly faded, but the message is clear. It's a note about peace. About quiet. About finding balance in the everyday. You smile, folding the letter back and slipping it away, as if to say, there's no rush for this either. Some things don't need to be sent just yet. They're meant to wait. As you sit there, beneath the open sky, with the world still and the night stretching out before you, you realize that this is what the tea master knew. This quiet, this stillness, it's not just a moment. It's a practice. And tonight, if your dreams take you once again to that quiet, to that gentle space between sips, where the world falls away and all you have is the simple, slow warmth of tea, let yourself stay there. There's no hurry. You're already exactly where you need to be. The cool breeze stirs the leaves above you, the rustling creating a soft, rhythmic hum that blends with the distant sounds of the night. You close your eyes again, letting the quiet fill you, sinking into the sensation of stillness. The peace of the moment feels like a blanket wrapping around you, comfortable, protective, soothing. As you sit there, you begin to realize just how much noise you've left behind. The chatter, the rush, the endless demands of the day, they're all far behind you now. Here, in this gentle corner of the world, there is only space to breathe, to rest, to be. The air is filled with the quiet music of the night, but there's no hurry to catch up. There's no rush to the next thing. Historians often talk about how tea rituals, especially in China, became a kind of sacred pause, an act of balance in a world that was constantly moving. Tea didn't just bring people together, it slowed them down. The meticulous process of making it, the boiling of water, the careful measuring of leaves, the waiting for the perfect steep, was a meditative act in itself. Each part of the ritual had a purpose, not just for the tea, but for the person making it. A pause in the middle of everything else. And you feel that now. The slow movement of your breath, the stillness of the world around you, the warmth of the tea in your hands. It's like you're part of something ancient, something that's been passed down through generations, an understanding that peace doesn't need to be sought out. It can be created, one gentle step at a time, in the space between thoughts and the pause between each sip. You glance up at the sky again, the stars shining faintly through the treetops, each one placed with purpose, each one part of a larger picture. The night feels almost timeless, as though it could go on forever, unchanged. And for a moment, you realize that this, too, is part of the ritual. This is the stillness of time. You breathe in deeply, your thoughts softening. The world will continue to turn. The days will pass. But in this moment, there's nothing more you need to do. Historians still argue whether the act of tea drinking, especially in the context of meditation, was about internal stillness or simply about pausing the external world. It doesn't matter. Tea is timeless, and its rituals remain, quietly, patiently, waiting for those who need them. So tonight, as your body sinks further into rest, and your mind relaxes into that same quiet rhythm, don't rush. The stillness you found isn't something that needs to be chased. It's already here, wrapping itself around you like the warmth of the tea you've just finished. And if your dreams find you sitting in quiet spaces, under calm skies, with the simple act of tea in your hands, let them. This is exactly what you've been waiting for. The night deepens further, but you're not rushed. The world outside remains hushed, and the stars above seem to stay exactly where they are, watching over you with an ancient, knowing gaze. You don't feel the pull of time anymore. The weight of the day has melted away into the coolness of the night, leaving only this peaceful, lingering moment. The tea house, though far behind you, still feels present. The gentle ritual of brewing and sipping tea, the soft movements, the presence of stillness, it's all carried with you now. Even though the warmth of the tea has faded, the comfort of that ritual remains. You sit in this new space, not in a tea house, but in the quiet of your own world. The practice of stillness you've come to embody doesn't need a teacup to exist anymore. It's become a part of you. The quiet, the deep breaths, the intentional slowing down. You are the ritual now, as much as you were a participant in it before. Historians argue whether tea's true impact was in the physical act of drinking it, or in the mental and emotional pause that came with it. For centuries, tea was a practice of mindfulness, both a personal journey and a communal one. And maybe that's the beauty of it. Tea doesn't just live in the tea leaves or the teapot. It lives in the space between each sip. You run your fingers over your blanket, the soft texture grounding you, and for a moment, you close your eyes. The quiet of the night seeps deeper into you. The sounds outside have softened further, the night pulling everything into its restful embrace. The world is still, and in this stillness, you begin to drift. The act of preparing tea, once a meditative ritual, becomes symbolic of everything that happens now. Every moment is a chance to pause. Every breath a new beginning. Every moment of stillness is a ritual of renewal. Tea might not always be there in every moment of stillness, but the ritual of tea, the deep, unhurried breathing, the time taken for quiet, is a constant companion. And so, as the world fades from your consciousness, as the quiet hum of the night wraps itself around you, remember, this is your practice. Tea or no tea. Silence or noise. You are the stillness, and the stillness is yours. So tonight, if your dreams find you sipping tea slowly, feeling every moment unfold with the comfort of calm, let them. Let the stillness carry you through, as gentle as the tea that first brought you to this place. You are exactly where you need to be. The night has settled into a deeper silence now. The fire has finally died down to a few glowing embers, and the air around you is cooler, carrying the faint scent of earth and distant mountains. The tea you once held has long since been forgotten, its warmth now a soft memory in your hands. But the ritual doesn't end with the last sip. In this space, rituals continue, whether the cup is empty or full, whether the tea is gone or just beginning. The stillness, the practice, becomes more than just the physical act of sipping, it's an invitation to embrace the quiet in every moment. You lie back, wrapped in the warmth of the blanket, the cool night air brushing against your skin. Your eyes are heavy, but your mind remains calm, still, and yet full. The evening's tea, the ceremony, the simple act of pausing, all of it has become a part of you, woven seamlessly into the fabric of your thoughts. The world outside, with its hurried pace and endless tasks, seems distant now, almost irrelevant. Here, in this quiet, you find peace, not in doing, but in being. Being present. Being still. Being okay with the slowness of it all. Historians have often debated whether the stillness that tea rituals offered was just a response to an ever-growing, increasingly noisy world, or if it was a timeless practice that allowed people to reconnect with their own inner calm. But perhaps it's a bit of both. Perhaps the ritual of tea is a way to remind ourselves of the power of the present moment, a way to slow the world down and allow our minds and bodies to be gently carried by the rhythm of simplicity. You pull the blanket tighter around your shoulders, feeling the weight of it settle into your body, as if the world itself is holding you, reminding you that it's okay to rest. Everything can wait for just a little while longer. You close your eyes, the faint sounds of the night singing you to sleep, crickets, a distant owl, the gentle sway of the trees in the breeze. So tonight, if your dreams are soft and slow, like the brewing of tea, and the world around you feels still and serene, don't fight it. Let the stillness come, as gentle as the warm tea that once filled your cup. There's no rush. There's only peace. The night continues its slow, steady march, the sounds of the world outside fading into the distance as the warmth from your blanket deepens. The quiet of the tea house, the simple ritual of tea, has woven itself into your very being, and for the first time in what feels like forever, you find that there is nothing more important than this moment of rest. The weight of the day has evaporated, leaving nothing but the softness of the night air and the gentle hum of your own breath. You stretch slightly under the blanket, the wool feeling like a soft embrace around you. You don't need to think about what comes next or how long it will take to get there. For tonight, you've allowed yourself the luxury of simply being. As you lie there, your thoughts drift again to the tea. To the ritual. To the art of slowing down. There's something deeply powerful about how something as simple as tea can be used to carve out a space in time where everything else falls away. You begin to realize that it's not just the tea itself that holds the magic, it's the space it creates. The teacup, the tea leaves, the kettle, they're just tools. What they offer is far more valuable than any flavor or aroma. They offer a chance to pause. To slow down. To let your body and mind rest in the stillness of the moment. Historians have long debated the true purpose of tea ceremonies. Was it simply a drink to soothe the body? Or was it an intentional act of cultivating inner peace, a way to carve out a moment of stillness in a world that's always in motion? In your current state, you lean toward the latter. Tea becomes the bridge between the noisy outside world and the peaceful inner sanctuary you've created. You feel your body soften as your mind drifts. Your thoughts are no longer chaotic, they're slow, deliberate, and at peace. The quiet of the night becomes a companion, not an absence. And within that quiet, you find your rest. You find comfort in the simplicity of the tea, the ritual, the pause. The stars above seem to glow a little brighter now, the stillness of the night wrapping the world in a soft, comforting hug. The air is cool, but you are warm, wrapped in the comfort of the quiet that you've embraced. So tonight, if your dreams carry you into a space where time seems to stretch, where the world is undisturbed, and where your body rests in perfect peace, let it be. You found your place. The quiet is yours. You breathe deeply once more, letting the soft air fill your lungs, the weight of the night settling comfortably around you. The world outside, vast and unknowable, feels a distant memory now, as if it exists in a different plane. Here, in this quiet space, time has stretched and slowed, like a moment suspended in amber. As you lie there, under the quiet dome of stars, you reflect on how much of the day has slipped away. The burdens, the busy thoughts, they've all faded into the stillness. You think back to the simple act of making tea. The warmth of the water, the calming presence of the tea master, and the ritual of each careful step. Every movement, deliberate. Every sound, intentional. It occurs to you that life itself is a kind of tea ceremony. A series of small, intentional moments that, when taken together, form a greater whole. The quiet moments when you pause. The small actions that carry meaning. The unspoken rhythms that hold everything together. You think about the pioneers of the tea ceremony, those early Chinese tea masters, who crafted their tea rituals not only to serve the body, but to serve the mind. In their stillness, they cultivated peace. They created moments of connection, not just between people, but between the drinker and the world. Tea was their bridge. Historians still argue whether the roots of tea rituals came from the practice of meditation, or whether it was born out of a desire to connect with nature, to find stillness in an ever-moving world. Either way, the result was the same. Tea became more than just a drink. It became a practice of slowing down. A way to carve out stillness in the midst of a busy, noisy life. You sip the last of your tea, the warmth slowly fading as the cup empties. The quiet hum of the night fills your senses, and you realize, you found it. The space you've been looking for, the space where everything slows. Where time feels softer, and everything becomes enough. As you settle back again, your eyelids flutter closed. The night wraps itself around you like a blanket. There's no need to rush. No need to do anything except be here. The quiet is a presence. A companion. It carries you, holding you gently in its embrace. So tonight, if your dreams unfold in soft, calming spaces where tea is brewed slowly, where the world outside feels distant and muffled, don't worry. You're not seeking something else. You've already arrived. And everything is still. Everything is just as it should be. The night deepens further, and the cool breeze from outside seems to slip inside, carrying the last traces of daylight and the scent of distant fields. The world beyond the tea house has receded, and you're left with nothing but the soft, steady hum of the quiet. Your body feels heavy now, comfortably weighted by the warmth of the tea, the tranquility of the moment, and the gentle embrace of the night. The room is so still you can almost hear the thoughts inside your head, slow, deliberate, drifting along like leaves on a calm river. The faintest sound of fabric shifting, the crackling of the last embers in the fire, the breath of the world outside, it all creates a kind of music, but one without a single note. It's the harmony of stillness. You think about the journey of tea itself. How it has traveled, how it has evolved, and how, over the centuries, it became a bridge not just between people, but between the mind and the world. From the simple leaves plucked from a tree to the ceremonial ritual practiced by tea masters, it has always been about creating a space of peace. Tea is more than a drink. It's a way of being. A way to step out of the rush, to slow time just enough to feel its weight. To understand that you don't need to move constantly. You don't need to fill every moment. You don't need to rush to the next thing. Tonight, you realize that it's not the tea that's most important. It's the ritual. It's the stillness, the pause, the moment of calm it creates. The ritual of pouring the tea, of waiting for the steep, of sipping and letting the warmth fill your body, it's about connection. Not just to the tea, not just to the people around you, but to yourself. Historians still argue whether the ancient practice of tea-making was always about slowing the mind, or if it became that over time. But one thing is certain, tea and its rituals have always had a way of filling the gaps in life. Not with answers, but with presence. Not with answers, but with peace. You sit there, surrounded by the quiet, and you realize that the world doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to move at breakneck speed. It just needs moments like this. Moments where you can sit, breathe, and let the world slow down for you. The tea, the ritual, the stillness, they've created a space for you to rest, to simply be. So tonight, as your dreams gently fill the silence, carrying you through soft moments of calm and warmth, let yourself be carried by the stillness. You've already found the peace. And there's nowhere else you need to go. The fire flickers softly in the corner, now reduced to a few glowing embers, their warmth still faintly reaching toward you as the room gradually cools. The quiet of the night deepens, and the world outside the tea house seems further away, unreachable for the moment. You feel yourself drawn into the stillness, not out of necessity, but because this stillness feels like home. The teacup, now empty, rests in your hand, and you can almost feel its warmth still lingering on your fingertips. You don't need to rush to clean it. You don't need to hurry to do anything. For once, everything can be left as it is. There's no pressure to move forward. No demand to get to the next task. You take a deep breath, filling your lungs with the cool night air that drifts through the window. The world is vast. The trail ahead is long, and yet, for now, none of that matters. Right here, in this moment, you're present. Fully, deeply present. The slow, deliberate steps that led you to this point, the tea, the quiet ritual, the stillness, have brought you here, to a place of simple peace. Historians still debate whether tea was originally designed as a method of calming the mind, or whether it became that over time. But it seems clear that, in its quiet ritual, tea has always offered a refuge from the noise of the world. From the relentless pace of modern life, from the constant rush of time, tea offers a way to slow down and simply be. You sit back, feeling the weight of your body settle into the cushion beneath you. Your limbs feel heavy but comfortable, and your eyelids flutter as the stillness pulls you deeper into rest. The rhythmic crackle of the fire is a lullaby, the soft sound of wind outside the window a gentle song. You feel no need to leave. No need to rush. The world will still be there when you wake, but for now, it's enough to simply let go. So tonight, as your dreams begin to gently fill the quiet space, let them unfold at their own pace. Let the world outside fade into the background, leaving you with nothing but the peaceful warmth of the tea and the comfort of this stillness. The tea has already worked its magic. Now, it's time for rest.